Good afternoon. How are we all? Oh, good morning still. Good morning. How are we all? So let me know if you're here with me live, just in the VIP group today. So let me know if you're on with me live. I'm just going to come on quickly today. I'm going to start a little series of kind of Nourish talks, women's health talks, things to help you kind of move into the festive season, and just things to help you stay aware and stay healthy so that we come out of this festive season still feeling healthy and not feeling like we've just tossed and eaten all the stuff. So I'm going to go into it nice and quickly today. I've called this session Nourish, and I'm going to keep calling it Nourish over this period. So everything that's going to nourish you inside, outside, mentally, physically. So it may be Nourish hyphen something. So this is kind of Nourish 1. So just while we're heading into this kind of moving towards the festive, I really want you to be aware of things that you are putting into your body just now. So we've got a little bit more of the Christmassy food around. We've got more of the Christmassy drink around. You might be in the shops and see a little kind of, oh, haven't seen those for ages, pick it up and stick it in the cupboard at eye level. So just lots of little hints and tips just to keep you focused. So today is about sugar, really, and the inflammation talk we did last week. So just want you to really be aware of the impacts of sugar in the body. And I'm going to keep it, I'm not going to go into too technically, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. So sugar is one of the largest causes of inflammation in our bodies. And we have different types of sugars. And if you want to go a little bit more into these, there is a sugar talk in the women's health section that we did earlier on this year or last year. So you can go in and find a little bit more about it and then really arm yourself with information. So sugar is definitely a crutch. Sugar has been proven with mice to be preferable over cocaine because of the sugar hit that you get. It's faster than cocaine. So that's it's quite shocking, really, when you think of it that way, because both are obviously addictive. Sugar is an addiction. They have found that in a little bit depressing, I know, but we'll move on. That in situations where they have been dealing with rehab from things like cocaine, and I'm using that one because this is the one the study was on, that then they're dealing afterwards with usually with a sugar addiction off the back of it. So then they've got to deal with that next addiction as well. So it's quite interesting that sugar is definitely an addictive substance that is everywhere in our lives. I eat sugar, you eat sugar, we all eat sugar. After Christmas, I'm going to do probably a week, maybe 2 weeks if you like. Let me know in the comments if you would like this and if you'd like it 1 week or 2 weeks. But I'm going to do a Ditch the Sugar challenge after New Year. Not immediately, because I know we've still got stuff on and we've still got people to see and things to do and stuff in the house, but maybe a week after, once we get a bit more into the kind of brain zone of it. So a Ditch the Sugar thing. And we'll then follow that with an Eat the Rainbow, perhaps, or something like that. So things to bear in mind with sugar. It is definitely something that can be a crutch. But we as humans are really, really good at creating habits. So if you can think about what you're putting in your basket, and it's okay to go back into the basket and put it back on the shelf and go back round and stick it on the shelf or something, something like that, or put it out the basket and not ask the cashier not to put it through. It's perfectly okay to do that. You are protecting yourself, you're protecting your family. Sugar, like I said right at the start, is definitely a cause for inflammation in the body. So we had the inflammation talk last week. Inflammation around your joints, inflammation for brain fog, inflammation with the whole declining estrogen if you are over 30, if you are perimenopausal, if you are menopausal or postmenopausal, these things will definitely, these types of foods will definitely increase the inflammation in your body. And it can be all sorts of ways it shows itself. It could be inflammation by that carrying of that midsection weight gain. So bear these in mind. The inflammation doesn't always address itself as pain. It can address itself in many other different ways as well. These are just the warning signs flashing away that we ignore and ignore and ignore, and then often it's too late. Another disease that comes off the back of inflammation is diabetes. And if you are a sugar addict, if you do eat a lot of sweet stuff, a lot of quick release carbs and a lot of sugary foods, then you may be in that kind of category of at risk of pre-diabetes, risk of diabetes. And if it's in your family, so I know that my mum and my auntie both have type 2. My cousin had type 1 during pregnancy and she was left with it. And another family member had type 1 during pregnancy, however, wasn't left with it. So that disease is definitely in my family. So it's something that I personally need to be aware of as well. So things to kind of think about. Does it run in your family? Should you maybe think of addressing these things? Sugar, hidden sugar, alcohol, things like, the sugars that you put in your tea or coffee. If you take one sugar in your coffee, maybe think about taking it down to half a sugar, maybe just a sprinkle of sugar. See where you can go with that. There are things that you can do. I mean, it's nice to be able to have that sweet treat, but if you need something, think about more natural types of sugar. Yes, they're still sugars, but they're more natural types of sugar. So it's a little bit like, the better the devil you know, but things like algarve, things like coconut sugars, and natural raw honey are better if you are going to have that sweetness in your tea or coffee or in your drinks. Mince pies, yes, have the mince pies, but don't eat all the mince pies. So think about when you're having them. Is it a treat? Is it a one-off thing, or are you going to go back and home and continue having a mince pie after you've maybe been for a meal with friends and you've had your Christmas dinner or whatever? So think about that. You don't have to eat the whole box. Give them away or put them in the bin. If you only wanted one and they come as a 6 or a 4, you don't have to eat the 4. Or freeze them. Mince pies freeze really, really well. You can take out one at a time and have one a week if that's what you want to do. So thinking about these little tips and tricks that you can use just to get through. And it is a case of that if you fall off the wagon and you start eating sugar for a day, you've not slept well, you've really had a bit of a stressful weekend or family stuff going on, or things happen, things get in the way, you've not been in your usual routine, and you have had a day where you've eaten white bread, quick release carbs, you've not eaten the right food at dinner time, you've hardly had any protein or greens, and yet you've had a bun. You've also had a Christmas latte or something like that, full of sugar. It's okay. You can rectify that. You just start again. Tear it off, clean the page, turn it over, draw a line, and start again. We can always restart. This is what habits are. It's about just getting back on. It's about rewiring the brain and knowing that it is okay. I like a pudding, I like a sweet treat. I like mince pies. I don't like them too sweet, but I like mince pies. And I like a glass of wine, but I know that it does. Sugar is definitely, for me, it causes an inflammatory response. So I've said this before in my talks, I definitely get an inflammatory response from eating sugar. But it's just a case of being aware of that, knowing that maybe it does this to your body. It causes maybe brain fog, or it causes maybe a little bit of joint aches. Your recovery is not as good. You don't sleep as well. it puts you on a bit of a kind of roller coaster of highs and lows. And just to be aware of this is really, really important. So if you can be aware of that in yourself, then you know how you're going to combat it, and you know what strategies you can put in place. So it's not the be all and end all. Things that you can have that are sweet, that are good for you as well. So thinking about fruit, naturally sweet foods. Fruits that are soft flesh are probably not the best ones, but I love them as well. I love mango and I love these kind of things. Pineapple are my kind of favourites, but it's like anything else. When it's really sweet, you probably won't eat too much of it anyway. I tend to freeze these things in slices or portions so that I can bring them out and use them when I want, or take them out and put them in a smoothie if that's where I'm going with it. Also, your fleshy fruits are good. So things like apples with the flesh on, eat the flesh as well, eat that roughage as well. Your berries are fantastic for your sweet treats, and you can freeze them. You can freeze your grapes. I know people freeze grapes and suck them like a sweetie. I haven't done that. I think it would give my teeth, it would send my teeth into little electric shocks, but I haven't done that. But I will try it and I'll come back to you on that one. But just bearing that in mind. So sugar and inflammation is really where we're going today. What happens with going back to the diabetes thing, what kind of happens there is when we eat sugar, it floods our body with insulin to combat this. And then if we keep eating sugar, then we're flooding more insulin into the body. So we're keeping that insulin level going as opposed to letting it come up and drop. And so what kind of happens here is that eventually we're building up that insulin, but we're also building an insulin resistance. So we're not so able to adapt to the sugars that we're eating because our insulin is being flooded into the body too much. So insulin resistance is really a case of where the insulin receptors are not recognizing this in your body. They're not recognizing the insulin in your body. And we get to a stage where we can't make enough. And this is when it becomes dangerous. So this is when we need to really think about, is this something that we have in the family? Is this something that we're finding in ourselves, perhaps? And just addressing this, and especially throughout the whole Christmas period. Yes, you can have the treats, and why shouldn't you have the treats? Food is there to be enjoyed, but just keep in mind, how does it make you feel? What do you eat off the back of that? How do you sleep off the back of that? How is your thought process off the back of that? Do you get a little bit brain foggy and forgetful, or can't pull the word out from the back of your head? So these things just to bear in mind. And also, we want to kind of come out of Christmas still feeling good about ourselves. We don't want to come into Christmas after doing lots of hard work through the year and then come out of Christmas with an extra tire. Yes, we're probably going to have an extra 1 or 2 pounds on. We probably haven't been doing the same exercise routines. We probably have been eating different foods, but it doesn't mean that we have to go all the way. So just a little kind of sugar inflammation, Nourish talk. Nourish is going to be our theme going into Christmas or going into the festive. So I hope that was just a little bit of usefulness information for you, just to kind of keep at the back of your head. And I will see you, some of you I will see tomorrow. If not, I will see you on Friday. Bye.